so many great players in WCG. So yeah, he absolutely deserved it. But again, if you've got a FIFA World Champion that wins that many, then it's reasonable not to give the award to Bling. But still, if it had to be a StarCraft 2 player, absolutely Bling, no doubt about it.
Yeah, he's come so far though.
It's gone down again.
Really?
Yeah, what the fuck's up? Is it Twitch? Oh my fucking god, that was good as well.
This is unusual. So it's not your internet? Oh, really?
Is it back? We're back.
You can talk now.
Wow.
Stupid thing.
No errors ever happen when I'm on the show.
Absolutely not.
TotalBiscuit, if you had to pick, who would be your player of the year for Dig?
Player of the year for Dignitas would, as I said before the stream went down, would be Bling by a country mile, simply because of the performance he put out in WCG, the performance he put in IPL 4's qualifier at I-44. It's such an amazing performance. Took a mat from MVP, who is considered at the moment to be basically the best player in the world. Although, after losing to MMA, perhaps that's not the case. But Bling's come on so far since the start of this year. He's incredibly good. And as far as I'm concerned, he's going to be the best player that you lot have got. Select is really good. Show's really good. And Bishu is getting really, seriously good. And, of course, you've got Mers, who's great as well, Killer. And Tang Dong Ho, which we haven't seen a lot of yet. And Dream, who's your latest addition. He's pretty good too. But Bling's... you can just see the advancement from the start all the way through to where he is right now. It's ridiculously good. And the amount of, I suppose, work ethic that you can see from that guy, it's obvious. Like, he's not slacking about at all. He's just working. Like, he has a problem and it gets fixed over and over and over again.
Yeah. My personal choice was going to be Bling as well. I thought it's insane how much improved he's become over the last few events. I was really hoping he would do even better at IPL, and I'm still hoping for a matchup against a Muslim at some point in the near future.
Yeah, I'll have to see. I have to wonder if the Muslim's really up for that, because I think the Muslim's got more to lose from that than Bling has. And if I'm totally honest, right now in his current form, I'd say Bling beats him. Simply because the Muslim hasn't really had a lot of practice time. He's had all this crazy shiz go down in his personal life. So he'll certainly get back on form. The Muslim's an incredibly talented guy, but I'd say that if it were to be played right this very second, I'd call it in favour of Bling.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It's cool though, because we now have two world-class players, and like the whole thing that we did with Bling was to get another UK world-class player. That's what we wanted. That was the whole idea of it, because I'm fed up with so many other world-class players from countries
bloody
like
foreigners
Sweden.
taking it jibs.
Exactly, yeah, bloody Swedes. And there must be more where Bling came from. It has to be. We'll look out for them as well. Hopefully we can train them up too.
Have you got any plans for any more player searches at any point?
Yeah, we're actually doing one in February, which will be another Alienware Intel sponsored one for FIFA.
Oh, really?
So look out for more details on that. But it will be a PC FIFA tournament, Gamer Search, in February.
I mean, it's one of those games that just played everywhere. I mean, you'll just be walking past people's houses, especially if you're in a student area, and you'll look in, and it's always the game being played on the big screen with like 3 or 4 people. The talent must be so rich, and some of them just are unaware of the competitions that are out there sometimes.
Yeah,
I suppose it's a little bit odd to watch people in an esports setting play a game that is already played in real life. It's like watching virtual darts as a tournament as opposed to actual darts. I can certainly see the appeal. It's a bit weird, and I have to wonder if that actually affects its viability as a spectator esport.
I think it does, actually. The biggest problem, Chris and I, we spoke about this, the biggest problem right now is there isn't a FIFA commentator that's good at commentating FIFA the game. Most people that try and do FIFA try and do a John Motson, and
they commentate it as football.
Yeah, and it's Nani,
not quite the same thing. Yeah,
it's like Rooney who's tackled by Rooney and passes to Nani, and that's tackled by Nani. It's a paradox. It's really weird. So the only person that's pretty good at the minute, I would have to say, is Brewster, but he's from deepest Yorkshire, so you can't understand a bloody word he says. So we're paying for him to have elocution lessons. I can't even say it myself. Shit.
Whatever that, we can just have subtitles for the first time.
That's true. Yeah, so that's all that's missing, because it's watchable. It's football. So yeah, it just needs a really good commentator. When Chris Kamara did it on CGS, that was fun. That was amusing.
Yeah. I commentated with D-Man at a WCG once, and I thought he was really good. I think he's
D-Man's good at a lot of stuff.
Before.
He's just a very accomplished commentator in general. He can commentate a lot of different games. It's simply because he comes from an old school shoutcasting background. I do mean old school, before video streaming, things like that. So I can appreciate that as the amount of skill that D-Man's actually got, as well as all of those other guys as well.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, he has quite a history of us as well. He was in Dignitas a long time ago as a player. Not many people know that.
You seriously, when we got him on last time, I absolutely completely forgot he used to play in 42. Absolutely. But I met him before I even started talking to you. I used to play Battlefield Vietnam with him back in the day. Just one of the first serious players, like
Great
PvP
game.
and all that. Great game. Back in the day, though. Anyway, actually, one more thing. CGS with FIFA was huge back then. I mean, the amount of money in that game. I mean, how do you see FIFA going right now? I mean, it must be quite the.
I've written an article a little while ago, sort of thinking about changes to it, because I remember in CGS one of the biggest problems was a 6-minute half game was just too long for people, so they cut it down to 4 minutes. And at the moment, the game's a little bit too sluggish. There's not enough action. Especially the game at the top level, it's mainly based around the solid defense, so you don't get a lot of goals, you don't get a lot of chances, and that's what people want to see. They don't want to sit and watch, people watch highlight shows for a good reason, like Match of the Day. People don't want to watch full games of football, so maybe that's an idea to break up in highlight shows. But I guess it needs to be faster and shorter and easier to score.
Yeah. Yeah. You think it's always going to have a stigma attached to it, is the fact that it is trying to be... It's a game based on the sport. Do you think that in any way hinders it, like, massively, or...?
Yeah, I think so. Anyone who, I guess, is interested in FIFA, I think they almost want to play FIFA, and, I don't know, in a way, maybe, if they see some guys playing on a stream, they'll just say, oh, I could beat him easy, or... I'm not sure if there's really that learning... I can watch a StarCraft stream and I can learn from it, but I'm not sure if I could do the same with FIFA as much. Mm-hmm. It's hard to really explain. But
so you think it all really comes down to, when you're watching a game, it all comes down to the commentator you have to help guide you through it? Or do you think it's much harder than that with FIFA?
I would guess so. I think you definitely need someone who can explain what's going on, explain the tactics, and explain the bugs and the strategies that the players are doing, rather than messy passes to...
Yeah, I think that's a case with a lot of esports. Like a lot of the not so popular ones, you are relying on the commentator to communicate the information and actually tell you, well, this is why you should be excited here, because you can't see it. And I think another example of a game that was really bad at like that, where the commentator was basically required for you to enjoy it, was actually WoW Arena, back when that was actually relevant. It was absolutely impossible to figure out what was going on the screen unless you had a really good commentator or you knew a ton about PvP in the first place. So for the layman, for just your general viewer, even someone that actually played WoW and maybe PvP, they still couldn't see what was going on because that game has terrible visual feedback. So you've got a lot of esports like that, and I suppose FIFA is kind of the same. Even if the sport of football is extremely familiar to people, you don't see the nuance. And what you should be commentating on, what you should be talking about in a game of FIFA is different to what you'd be talking about in an actual game of football.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep. And that's why it's like if I stood and watched StarCraft, I wouldn't have a clue what's going on. Well, I do now, yeah. But at the beginning, I wouldn't have a clue what's going on. It's like League of Legends is hard. World of Warcraft is hard for me to understand without the commentators. And if it's hard for me to understand, I've been in gaming for a long time. What about the general public, the mainstream? That's what worries me, because that's where we need to be going, towards those people, and they need to pick it up instantly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's where the sponsorship money comes from. You need the mass audience. You need the reliable audience. You also need a wider demographic than we currently have, because then you attract more sponsors. You attract different sponsors, different companies. You can't just have male gamer 25 to 34 as your primary demographic and your only demographic, because that just reduces the number of companies that are actually going to put money into it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, we are going to go to a quick break now, and we are going to bring in my co-host for today, which is Genesis. And yeah, go to ads now.
Yeah. Cheers, Chris.
Thank you. And welcome back. I am joined now by Genesis, owner of the YouTube channel Spawnbox. Got that right, didn't I?
What a cheesy plug, I told you no, but yeah. Anyway.
I'll plug it anyway. Get used to it, mate. He is, well, we met, you've had an interesting history at Dignitas, actually. I first met you in iSeries, but you first met up with people at Scan, I believe.
Yeah, it was a Scan event not so long ago. Probably, well, I say not so long ago, about 3 years. And I met Zacubus. He's been on this stream quite a few times online. He just told me to pop down, and I've been speaking to you guys since. So that's been 3 years. Can't escape you.
Jesus, 3 years already, man. Time flies, eh?
Yeah, 3 years. Too long, too long. Helped me out a lot, though.
Have you enjoyed being able to play with some of the pros? I mean, you've been trying to play a few of the games at a high level, and it's pretty damn good, to be honest.
I just get no competition from you guys. You know what I mean? It's white. I'm only joking. No, it's good. It's kind of different because when I was playing, I only played games for about 6 months before I actually met you guys properly. So it was like I never really got to speak to people that played at a normal level of gaming. I just kind of got lucky in that respect. So I increased my skill level dramatically really fast, and yeah, so I like it. Yeah, it's good. Definitely.
Cool. Anyway, to the guest star, pretty much, TotalBiscuit. I mean, you've been having quite a busy year, to be honest, especially after IPL iSeries. You've pretty much been busy.
It's been a bit hectic, yeah.
I mean, but you're pretty much quite a few of these events. But for you, IPL was the start of your kind of recent travels, I assume. What did you think of IPL and I-44?
I mean, that month actually was busy as hell. I was in 4 different countries that month, and IPL was at the 3rd of 4 events. But I mean, IPL was incredibly good for a UK esports event. I don't think there's any doubt about that. It's so very, very good and far beyond anything we've seen, certainly for StarCraft. I mean, I can't commentate on the other stuff because obviously IPL wasn't really involved in that, but the actual StarCraft 2 tournament, the quality of play that we had a great quality stream, we had good quality equipment this time around, we had a good audience all the time, and we were on the main stage for most of the event. Every time we could get on that main stage, we were there, and it was nice to see the main stage being used. They've got such a great main stage now at the Telford Centre. why waste it, honestly? Well, especially when people they want to come along and be able to watch StarCraft. You got people coming in there that are buying spectator passes and aren't actually at the LAN. And that's good because there's a ton of space for people like that. We've got hundreds of chairs, which I think is at least 10 times more than MLG ever has. So they can just go and watch some StarCraft, have a few bevies. I'm using the word bevies, and these guys aren't even going to understand what that means. That's beverages. Ladies and gentlemen, that's alcoholic beverages that you sap. It's delicious. You quaff the beverage.
Keeping it British.
It's like drunk like water at ISO, I must admit.
Yeah, something along those lines. It's not a dry LAN. Let me put it that way. It's not a dry LAN in more ways than one. But yeah, there was such a fantastic event. Everyone seemed to have a great time. We had a really good finals. We did see UK players come along and compete, even though most of them got annihilated in the first round. We did see a few break through to the second, and of course, Bling got further than anybody else in terms of the UK players, and will hopefully continue to do so. So it was really good. It was a good kick up the arse for the UK StarCraft scene, and we did see a couple of players that I'm liking the look of, honestly, and hopefully we'll start to push through because we've had so few in the UK that have been even remotely competitive.
Who in the UK impressed you at this event?
Well, and I talk about Voddy, really, and Voddy isn't, as far as I'm aware, Voddy's actually Swedish. He might be living in the UK at the moment, though. I can't be certain, a.k.a. Shodan, who people may have seen on Ladder. I don't know what that was, but it sounded like the end of the universe. Phone form. You can just pack up the show and go home right now. Apocalypse is nigh. But yeah, Voddy was really, really great, so I'm looking forward to him. And Gomaz as well, even if he is one of the most cheesiest, annoying bastards when it comes to his play. To be fair, it was just that one game that he put out there was absolutely insane. It was the longest game we'd ever cast. But yeah, the Infused lot are actually doing really well. Even Randy's playing better than what we've seen before, and obviously he's part-time. I really wish Randy could go full-time because he's obviously got the talent, but he just doesn't have the time. He's concentrating on his university studies and things like that. So definitely ones to watch out for, though.
Yeah, it's the biggest problem. The term pro is very loose in the UK because we don't get that much support.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
I mean, outside of CGS, there's probably not really been many pro UK players I can really come to think of. But you would class as full-time pros, but the game is all they really play. And since then,
I would say under 10 at the minute, like making a proper living out of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not that many in the StarCraft scene in general. I mean, if you talk relative to the number of people that are trying to compete, you talk about salaried players who can actually honestly make a living off it, who are not just on unemployment, trying to hide their earnings or whatever. You know, that's if you're talking about full-time salaried pros. So there's not as many as you would like, but you've got to bear in mind, well, are they really going to make the money back for you? Unless your team's got really good sponsors and that player is making his money back in the amount of money that he is generating for the sponsors, the ROI, specifically the return on investment, then it's difficult to justify just giving a wad of cash to a player every month and then just letting him do his own thing.
Yeah. Me.
Interestingly, if you had to pick a player who you know isn't full-time, any player in the world you know, but if he had the full-time and you could give him that backing, who would you choose if you had to pick a player?
Well, it would be between Randy or Pureball, honestly. It really would be. Yeah, if you've ever heard Pureball talk about Protoss, like 5 straight hours in the car with Pureball, it's nothing. But let me tell you about how broken Protoss is for 5 hours. And he still kept me interested. I'll give him the credit for that. The guy's obviously got the talent. He plays a really old school style of play because he barely has the time to actually play it. But I wish he could just play full time. But it's really difficult to do that now. There was a time when you could go full time on the sole basis of streaming if you got in there. It's kind of like the gold rush for streaming. The problem is now the streaming market is kind of saturated. It's really hard to launch a stream and get a reasonable number of views now. You've got to do something particularly spectacular. I recall looking at, hell, if we just look at Team Liquid right now and just look at the streams that we've got on air, you've got DeMuslim on air, you've got Startail Rainbow, Startail Aphrodite, you've got Demaga, Zenith, you've got Atero on there as well, and the IGN Pro League are streaming, and this is a light night. There are usually way more than that. You talk like Dragon, Destiny, White Raw, TLO. if they're on the air, they're sinking between them about 30,000 stream viewers. And it's like, there's only a limited market for the number of people who'll actually watch streams. So good luck trying to break into that market. It's really difficult. So even some of the featured streamers that are up there right now, it's like Atero's showing like 5 viewers. Rainbow's only got 180, and Rainbow's actually a genuinely good Korean player. It's nuts. It's so hard to break into that, and it's a good form of income if you can get enough viewers regularly. But if you can't, it's a waste of your time. Yeah.
I think, you brought up Pure Ball. I mean, a long-time Dignitas player, World in Conflict champion. I had the same experience as you had. First time I went down to him was the first I-Series tournament, I believe, for StarCraft.
I-40, yeah.
I got a lift down him. Yeah. He was totally surprised. He was going down all the way in the journey for like 4.5 hours listening to Limp Bizkit, saying how there's no chance he can win. He's got no chance of winning, and then he wins, and then he like collapses on stage on the floor.
Yeah. There's a picture of that. It was a good series of games. To be fair, he used 5-Rex Reaper most of the time, which was pretty broken at the time as well. It's funny how he could tell me how broken Protoss is for 5 hours, but refuses to mention 5-Rex Reaper. Like, that was pretty broken back in the day, especially against Zerg. It was a nightmare to deal with. But it was cool to see that. He's obviously got the talent, and he's got the work ethic as well. But at the end of the day, how do you practice full-time for a game if you're also doing a full-time job? It's simple as that. You can't do it unless you've got your prodigy like Stefano, who claims to only play 3 or 4 hours a day. You're not going to get to the competitive level. And even if you do get to the competitive level, how are you going to support yourself while you do it? Where's the money going to come from?
Yes, it's like when I played 42. Sometimes I couldn't even remember going to work or driving to work. I just get there and I think, how the hell did I get there? I couldn't remember because I was getting like 2-3 hours sleep a night. It's tough.
Not enough is really talked about your Battlefield 42 days, really, is it, Odie?
I think we should talk for hours and hours about
1942. Absolutely fantastic game.
I know you two have been dueling recently on Battlefield 3. Have you all got the new map pack?
Yeah, definitely. Anyone that bought it around launch got the map pack anyway. The Karkand for Battlefield 3 it blows every other map with the exception, I would say, of Operation Firestorm and Karg Island completely out of the water. And some people will say, well, why aren't you mentioning Caspian Border? I don't know. There's something about Caspian Border. It's not directed enough. I think it's too open for what it is. It's very easy just to make a big, flat, open map for Battlefield and say, it's a Battlefield map. Look at how great this is.
I think Caspian Border got totally burnt out during the beta, though. I mean, I remember playing that for like 3 days non-stop, like 12 hours a day, just totally on it. And as soon as it was released, I was like, everyone's on Caspian Border. I just wasn't bothered about it at all.
Yeah. Relative to Operation Metro, it looked so good by comparison. It's like you take the really ugly girl and you put her next to the pretty one to make her look better by comparison. That's what it was. Metro, everyone absolutely despised Metro, regardless of the fact that Metro is not a bad map for what it is. It's just not very Battlefieldy. It's more like Medal of Honor. It's more like Medal of Honor than...
I've been chewed up on making this point a few times recently.
I didn't like Operation Metro when we was playing it in the beta. As soon as the game was released, that was one of my favourite maps. I really enjoyed
Operation
it.
Metro,
it's a big difference.
Well, I think it's a focused map, and you feel like you're actually doing something and you're not randomly dying for no reason. That can happen on one of the big 64-player maps. A helicopter just comes in and kills you, and there's nothing you can do about it because you're on the ground. Somebody snipes you, there's nothing you can do about it. Apparently my camera has died. No, it's back up. Right, okay. But I actually like it for that. It's good to sort of throw it into your server to break up the routine. But did any of you play Up Metro on 64-player Conquest when it first came out? The most disastrous clusterfuck. Oh my god.
Rush to B. The people that OB wins the map. That's all you have to do.
I kind of enjoy it though, because when I played Battlefield, my job was infantry, was to get 2 flags. And that was it. That was my job. Spawn, die, get the flag, die. I love that map, and I love Karkand. The new Karkand is fantastic. So the big difference is the buildings all have entrances now. You can go in, run upstairs, jump off the top, run back up the stairs, stab the guy in the back. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a nightmare for a tank, though. Could you imagine that? Like back in BF2. I mean, you would drive it in, you'd be like, I'm fine, the roofs are clear. all of a sudden you're just getting hit by anti-tanks from left, right, and centre. It's just insane.
Yeah. Especially with the grenade launcher, you can just make your own entrances now with all that destructible stuff. Bang, straight through the wall, straight out the back.
That those maps actually supported that, because we knew the tech was there, and they just refused to use it, and that was infuriating. Those maps are so much better than anything else that's on there, except for Karg Island and Operation Firestorm, in my opinion. Karg Island is really good.
I hate Karg Island. I love Operation Firestorm. Karg Island's my worst map. I hate it. I despise
it's a good map, mate. You just don't know what a good map is. You go back to Metro, man.
I think it's the first map that made me punch my desk.
I can agree with that. I just got sniped from everywhere on that map. Everywhere, just snipers laying around.
To be fair, if you're not in a vehicle on Karg, you're definitely doing it wrong, because there are a lot of vehicles that stay in the sodding vehicles to when you need to be. But yeah, it was a really decent map in my opinion. We run the 64-player Conquest with Karg, Firestorm, and the 4 Karkan maps, and even the Karkan maps on Rush are really good. That's the impressive thing about it. The Karkan maps on Rush are actually extremely well focused. I think that I'm trying to remember, was it Oman, or was it actually... No, I think it's maybe the last point on Karkan, the strike Karkan, the rush distance to reinforce for the last MCOM is a bit too long. It's about 200, 250 meters away, which is a little excessive. But aside from that, it's a fantastic series of maps. And, of course, you've got the different vehicles, and I like the fact that they put in the comedy vehicle as well. The little freaking forklift that you can.
There's a couple of those. You can get in a little digger as well. You can get in a digger and drive around.
Yeah,
it doesn't do anything, but it's fun.
But you can do it. Yeah, you can get 4 people on it. I think they realised that Battlefield isn't actually that serious, and they took Battlefield in a really, really serious direction, especially with Bad Company 2, which really shouldn't have been serious, considering the original Bad Company was definitely nothing like that. And the original Bad Company was actually very funny. It's a good single-player. Shame it never came to PC. But it got really serious in BF3. But at the end of the day, Battlefield's about crashing jets into helicopters and about C4ing a digger and crashing that into a tank. That's what Battlefield is, that if you want to play it on a casual basis.
Yeah, as a public game, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it is. But now I just hope DICE actually do something, although I know they're talking about doing something about helping the competitive scene, and I don't mean 5-on-5, 4-on-4 bloody infantry. It's so boring. I want 8v8 vehicles, tanks, the lot.
Damn right.
Yeah, it would make a nice change, and very simple things would do it. But the one thing about Battlefield, actually, very very interesting facts for me working on the forums, so I see it all the time. 2 things: there's an Easter egg on Wake Island where you can see a dinosaur on there's a dinosaur.
There's a hidden dinosaur. They claim they put a dinosaur in it. It's in a little chasm, sort of in the middle of the map. I think there is this. It's a toy dinosaur. That's you just face it dead on, and it's just this dinosaur roaring at you. It's pretty awesome.
Is that on Wake Island?
Yeah, Wake Island. Go and find it. There is a thing. There's some notes, I think, on Karkland. I think. Where they have documents on a table saying that dinosaurs have escaped and they have to go find them. So
it's because of the parody, isn't it? They did a parody trailer where it was dinosaurs in Battlefield 3. Is that where they're doing it from? There was a parody trailer where it showed everybody. It was like going to be a new Horde mode where it was going to be dinosaurs versus the people in Battlefield. So unless they're actually taking that seriously, or if it was just a joke. You never know.
Hey, Call of Duty has its zombie mod. Maybe Battlefield's going to have its dinosaur mod.
I'd play a dinosaur mod. I want to shoot a T-Rex with a tank. That is all I want to do. I'll be happy.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Anything better than Dino D-Day. There is actually something coming out called Primal Hunt, which is supposed to be really, really good, but Dino D-Day was an amazing disappointment. I don't even know why I expected anything from it, but I thought, hey, it's got dinosaurs in it. It can't possibly go wrong. It went wrong. Horrendously wrong.
Oh dear.
I played it on the free play weekend. I didn't get into it whatsoever. That was
it's awful. It's a really bad source mod that they charged a lot of money for.
Well, saying that, if you were to buy the expansion for Battlefield for the extra free maps and so forth, that will set you back. Was it $11.99?
Yeah. I don't know if I can agree with that, honestly. I mean, the fact of the matter is, a lot of us get it free, but still, even if you count in the extra vehicles and the extra weapons, I don't know if it's worth it.
It's not about the actual extra content though. This is more towards the console game. It's to stop secondhand games, in my opinion. That's purely what it's for, because you can only register the Carcan thing on a single account as well. So there you split it up straight away.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't like the idea of that, but at the same time, there was also on the same, I think on all three of the extra maps, or at least on two of them, on Wake and Cartland, there is written down on certain bits around the map, 2142 or 2143, sorry, which to anyone that doesn't know, Battlefield 2142 was the game that came out to BF2, which is the futuristic version of Battlefield, which no one's seen coming when it came out. So possibility of new DLC or even a new title. Don't know what I think about that.
Well, 2142 had some pretty decent modes. I mean, I would kill for a Titan mode again.
Is that the one with the big ships that you had to fly onto at the end and demolish or something?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. You would have kind of like corridor battles like you would on like you've seen in like Star Wars.
It was one of the first games that I ever played. I got that game about 3-4 years ago. I played it for about 10 minutes, got my ass whooped, and didn't play it again. But that was what I was playing. You had to like jump in a helicopter, fly off to this other base, and it was all fun.
What was OT found off a trophy rack?
It's going to be a Battlefield trophy, isn't it?
This was a BF2 142 tournament. We won. I think
Assembly.
The only one ever.
Where's that? Oh, that one, yeah. I wasn't in that one.
I thought we won it. We won something. I quite like that game. It was crap.
Yeah, it was crap. It went down in history as possibly the worst Battlefield, from what I remember at least.
I thought Vietnam, like the original Vietnam, was the worst Battlefield.
Heretic!
That was not a good game. Come on, really?
Whoa. It had the best soundtrack I think any game has ever had.
Okay, I'll give you the soundtrack. Definitely. No problem there. But as an actual game...
I played a game a long time before Battlefield was released. I think it was called Operation something. And it was...
Flashpoint?
No, it was before that. And it literally had vehicles and all that kind of stuff. It was horrible. But I'm gonna search it. Stick with me.
Sure,
carry on.
Isn't the game that came out before 42? I think Odie might know that. It's Codename something, isn't it?
Codename... something yet. Codename Eagle?
What was the game before Battlefield 42?
Codename Eagle.
Codename Eagle, wasn't it?
Yeah, that rings a bell. I was playing Quake, so I have no idea.
It was too pro for us.
Yeah.
Long time ago, eh?
There was a champagne thing in the top of that we got from the LAN. I remember putting it in there. I wonder what the fuck it was doing in there, but that was what it was.
What, was that an iSeries event?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ, that probably did help win that then.
Yeah, probably did.
You probably stole the champagne as well.
But anyway, I think Battlefield's by far the better game, Battlefield 3, but Call of Duty, the latest one I saw last week, they've hit 1 billion in sales.
Oh.
Which is mad.
Why do we do it? Why do we give it to them? Why?
Yeah. So like if they're making in sales, like I don't know what the profit is, but 1 billion in sales, like why are they not supporting it even more? I know they've got the COD XP, which is great on console. They're putting a lot of money into that, but there is PC as well.
Why would they care?
They don't need to. They've got the money now, and they've less money this time. Straight in.
It doesn't support their annual release model. You can't go esports with that. If you do, then you get the esports scene getting upset when the next version comes out. You can't do that. Think of the amount of people that still play COD 4. Like COD 4 is a well-balanced game, obviously with modding support. It actually still has a pro scene, has had it for years. If you were to release a new game every year, how do you think the community would react to that? It's like, well, that just kills esports.
The community's going to be up in arms with Counter-Strike Go, and it's been a long time since us.
Well, yeah, but that's the Counter-Strike community. They get upset over everything. About that. But yeah, I don't see why they'd support it.
Our Call of Duty 4 team, they don't even play the game unless you prod them with a cattle prod. So.
I mean, yeah, the Counter-Strike community was just like, Source came out. Oh, no, was it 1.6 came out, and people were 1.5 were saying, oh, it's not as good as 1.5. And then Source came out, and everyone said 1.6 is better. It's just going to be an endless cycle. But that's esports in general. I mean, I played Battlefield, and it went I never played 42 like Odie did, but it was Vietnam BF2. And it's been, everyone kind of followed the money, but in games like Call of Duty, loads of people kept playing Call of Duty 1, then 2, and held off on 4 for ages, and then 4, and now no one's touching the new ones, really, are they?
Well, why would they?
Yeah, I know.
What reason is there to? You played Modern Warfare 3 on PC at that event with Scan was a couple of weeks back, and it's headache-inducing. It's awful. Apparently, they're going to bring in an FOV option. I was looking around. There were some statements that says that they're going to add an FOV option in the next update. It's like, well, it's great. You've added the standard thing that should be in every PC game for the sake of people's health, especially when it comes to FPS. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. It's wearing these blinkers. I don't know what the hell's going on there. It doesn't even support competitive play. How can you have a game that is competitive where someone could come up right beside you, you can't see them because you have no peripheral vision, and then they stab you in the neck? How is that a competitive game? That's blind luck. It's nonsense.
And the spawn system and everything, it's just all designed to take any skill ceiling from the game and just make it so a really bad player can actually compete with a really good players on a natural skill level. It's just stupid. Frustrated.
It's pretty dire game, I must admit. Playing the Scan recently was quite shocking. But this game wins the best multiplayer game of the year at the award ceremony in
VGA.
Spike. Who the hell cares about VGAs? Don't even get me started.
It's aimed at 13-year-old girls, man.
But all I need to say about the VGAs is that Mark Hamill tweeted saying that he didn't even know why he was there. Mark Hamill hates it, then I hate it. The Joker hates that shit.
I'm having none of that. The Force told him to be there, surely.
I think Mark Hamill was not sure where he's quite allowed, to be honest.
Well, I mean, Jeff Gerstmann, who was actually on the judging panel for it, said it was a joke as well. And to be fair, he was quite, as he always is, reasonable about it, saying, well, what do you expect from television? This is what's going to come from television. There's no way you're going to get anything better than this on TV. So it is an absolute farce. People shouldn't pay attention to it just because it's televised. I mean, really, have you seen what else is on Spike? Do you really think there's any legitimacy there?
They know what their market is. They know who are watching their shows, and they're going to try and appeal to
30-year-old boys.
Yeah, so that's who they appeal to. Simple as.
Anyway, we are going to go to a break, and we'll be right back, and we will talk more to TB about his trip to DreamHack, and maybe everyone's favourite game. I don't know, of the year? Oh, why not?
Maybe.